Warning: this video contains spoilers for Persona 5 Royal. Continue at your own risk. Boss battles. Battles that go against grander opponents than what you're used to. They leave a big impact, but none are as important as the final boss. Final bosses are arguably one of the most important parts of a game. They happen when a game finally reaches its climax. But aside from being the climax of the game, what really makes the final boss so impactful? Is it the music? The character design? The player's attachment to the final boss? Or the final boss's impact in the story? Well, it can actually be all of those reasons, and others as well. It can be difficult to find ways to make a final boss meaningful, but Persona 5 Royal does a perfect job at it. Before I go into detail on why I think this is the case, let me know in the comments below what final bosses left a huge impact for you in the past. In the end, it all comes down to a matter of what you look for in a final boss. Now, who exactly is Persona 5 Royal's final boss? Well, it's none other than this guy right here, Takuto Maruki. Maruki doesn't seem like he'd be the final boss, or an antagonist in general, but he is the perfect example of what a meaningful final boss is. The game does many things before and during the final fight to give him as much impact as he has. One of the best things the game did was creating an excellent introduction for Maruki. If you're familiar with the story of the game, then you know Maruki is introduced early on, soon after the first palace in the game. He's introduced at an assembly as the student counselor and gives a speech. He comes off as a friendly individual while also acting like a goofball, such as when he hits his head on the mic, or when he tells jokes in the middle of his speech. After the assembly, he speaks to you, you have a fun chat, and then a deal is made. The deal is that you will attend Maruki's counseling sessions, and in return, he will teach you ways to improve your mental acuity, as well as give you free snacks. And that's his introduction. A simple introduction that seems insignificant at first glance, but one that is actually important in guiding the player's feelings towards Maruki. He was introduced as a funny and intriguing character. He did not overstay his welcome, and he gave players a reason to be interested in him. Since he is introduced so soon into the story, players already know they're going to spend a lot of time with him. If Maruki was introduced as a boring and unlikable character, then players would be less inclined to want to get to know him. Even though Maruki had an introduction that intrigued players, it wasn't enough to leave it at that. Along with grabbing the player's interest, the game establishes an emotional connection with Maruki. An emotional connection isn't necessary to make a final boss great, but it certainly helps in making it impactful. Many players go against the final boss and don't feel anything towards them. The player just wants to beat them for the sake of beating them. However, establishing an emotional connection with the final boss helps the fight become more personal. It gives players a reason to care about beating them. The emotional connection with Maruki is made through his confidant events. What starts off as a set of simple counseling sessions turns into a personal journey with him. While spending time with Maruki, you begin to help him with his cognitive science research. He says that his goal is to use the research to save people suffering from the internal pain that they keep holding on to. He does not say why that is his goal, but you can tell that those are his genuine intentions. A close bond forms between you and Maruki through his confidant. He even describes that he feels he is speaking to an old friend when he speaks to you. At rank 9 of Maruki's confidant, he shares information about his past, which reveals the reason as to why he wants to help people with their internal pain. His ex-fiancée went through a traumatic experience and was emotionally damaged from it. After seeing her go through that, Maruki vowed to help everyone that suffered like she did. Maruki ends up finishing his cognitive science research and gives you the news during his rank 10 event. You have lunch with him, and also have a fun conversation with him. Within that conversation, he reveals that he knows you're a part of the Phantom Thieves, and that is the main reason he asked for your help with his research. Maruki thanks you for helping him, and says he'll use his research to make the world a better place. His confidant ends with you both saying that you'll eventually see each other again. And you two are right. You end up seeing each other again during the third semester, but not in the way you might be expecting. A palace appears during the third semester and you decide to investigate it. Once you investigate it, that's when you hit the reveal. You find Maruki in there and figure out that that's his palace. He got rid of the previous reality and made a new one where he's granting everyone's wishes in order to make them happy. You of course know this is wrong and try to stop him to bring the old reality back. This results in a quick scuffle that ends with Maruki giving you a chance to join him in making everyone happy. You deny it, but he gives you time to spend in his reality to see if you change your mind. And that sets up his role as the final antagonist. This reveal was done extremely well and only worked as well as it did because of the connection established in his confidant. The reveal plants an internal conflict into the player's head. You know you have to stop what he is doing, but do you want to stop him? It becomes harder and harder to figure out a solution to this internal conflict the further you get into the third semester. Through the third semester, you get to see most people living happily in Maruki's reality. It makes the choice of stopping Maruki harder to make. You want to go back to your reality, but what's better for everyone? At Maruki's palace, you find some of his memories in the form of videotapes. These videotapes show events from Maruki's past, leading you to feel even worse about wanting to stop him. You feel sympathy for him. There's even a part of you that wants to root for him. You know that Maruki really wants to help everyone, but you also know it needs to be done in a different way. At the end of his palace, you find the area where his treasure is located, and it looks very different from the rest of his palace. While his palace is a research facility, the area where his treasure is located symbolizes the Garden of Eden. This shows that Maruki truly thinks that what he is doing is correct, and he is trying to guide people to their paradise. Everything shown in Maruki's palace was shown to make you think whether or not you are doing the right thing by stealing his treasure. After finding the area, you set an infiltration route and return on the deadline day. Deadline day. Everything you've experienced thus far has finally led to this moment. This is the day that you have to fight Maruki. And oh boy, there is a whole lot to unpack in this final section. You infiltrate his palace and a brand new track plays, I Believe, an excellent upbeat song that represents the Phantom Thieves' determination to steal Maruki's heart. There's no turning back, so they have to believe that they will win and restore reality to how it should be. Once you and the rest of the Phantom Thieves get to the treasure area, you meet with Maruki for the final fight. Here, he transforms into a metaverse outfit, reveals he has a persona, and then the fight begins. Everything about this final fight is just perfect to me. Everything culminates into one of the most emotional moments in games for me. The gameplay during the final boss was amazing. Yeah, it's gameplay you've been doing for the past 100 plus hours, but you have to utilize everything you've learned to actually succeed. Stat boosts, debuffs, multi-hit attacks, baton passes, party switching. You can't just attack randomly and beat Maruki. You have to use everything you've learned strategically. I've mentioned the emotional connection way too many times, but that's because it's true. The emotional connection you have with Maruki is one of the most important aspects of this fight. It's what gives this fight so much meaning. Maruki wasn't just some deity that randomly appeared at the end of the game. He wasn't some villain that's just bad for the sake of being bad. I have a hard time even calling him a villain. Maruki was someone you go on a personal journey with, a friend. Because of this close connection, you can feel a variety of emotions during the fight. Happiness, sadness, anger, regret. Depending on your personal connection with Maruki prior to this fight, you can feel any or all of those emotions. The song played during this final fight also takes part in making the player emotional. This song is titled Throw Away Your Mask, and it is special even among the already amazing songs played throughout the game. It doesn't seem to be special at first, just a very good track with a nice guitar to provide the melody. However, as the battle progresses and evolves, lyrics come in to replace the guitar. Oh boy, lyrics, big whoop. What makes the song so special compared to the rest? Well, that's because this song is actually sung from Maruki's perspective. Maruki wants you to accept his reality. He wants you to be happy. He doesn't want to fight you, and he's in pain because he has to. Take a close listen at the chorus.
Don't sleep through dreams that can't come true. No more tears shall drop from your cheeks anymore. You want me to strive for greatness. Believe in me that you don't need to suffer from anything.
If you listen to me, all of your dreams will come true. You won't need to live in a painful reality anymore. Please believe in me. Those are Maruki's feelings, and that is what the song is trying to convey. Although it's too late to change your decision, it still makes you question yourself. Did you really make the right choice? This song is my favorite track in the game because of how it made me feel during the fight. And I believe that this is the perfect song to represent Maruki. The song is very symbolic. Even though symbolic details, such as the ones presented in the music, are not obvious to every player, it shows how much effort the developers put into small details when making Persona 5 Royal. I've already touched a tiny bit about symbolism when I was discussing the music and the treasure room, but let's talk about symbolism with Maruki's design. The first symbolic details I spotted were in the design of Maruki's Metaverse outfit. It looks like a funny design at first, especially with his super tall mask, but it's a genius design. He wears a gold outfit with a priest garb, a tall mask in the shape of a shield, and he is also holding a staff. His outfit is representative of a high religious figure. It's a bit unclear what the mask could represent, but one likely option could be divine protection, to fit with his religious figure look. Even the gold color of his outfit symbolizes something. Gold typically represents success and triumph. He succeeded in making this reality, and now he must triumph against the Phantom Thieves. The symbolism continues even in his persona, Azathoth, and its awakened form, Adam Kadmon. Azathoth's design seems out of place when compared to Maruki's, but there's a reason for this. Azathoth is actually the name of a deity in Cthulhu mythos. In Cthulhu mythos, Azathoth is seen as a symbol for primordial chaos. Considering its origins, it makes sense why Azathoth's design in Persona 5 Royal is the way it is. Tentacles and all. Maruki's persona being given the name Azathoth could also represent the chaos taking place in Maruki's heart throughout the game. Later in the fight, Azathoth awakens into a new form, Adam Kadmon, who contains his own set of symbolism. Unlike Azathoth, Adam Kadmon's name doesn't originate from Cthulhu mythos. It actually originated from Judaism. In Judaism, Adam Kadmon is the first spiritual world that came into being after the contraction of God's infinite light. I don't think it would be a stretch to say that Maruki wanted to be the world's infinite light, the people's infinite light. He wanted to guide everyone to happiness, but he couldn't. At the end of the fight, you steal Maruki's treasure and the palace begins to fall apart. You begin to fly away on the Morganacopter, but Maruki tethers himself onto it. You fall down and have a final fistfight to help Maruki come to terms with his defeat. This fistfight held so much meaning. You don't have your mask anymore. You aren't Joker anymore. You're just you. Maruki doesn't have his Metaverse outfit on either. It's just you two as people, as friends, who are fighting to hold onto your own ideals. The ideals that are so similar, yet so different. In the end, there can only be one winner. Maruki admits defeat, and you take him back to the reality he originally took away. This was a perfect conclusion to a perfect final fight. There's no understating just how important a final boss is to a game. The final boss is supposed to leave an impact on the player. To do this, developers take many factors into account. Everything that happens during a final boss fight is important in making it great, but what happens prior to the fight is also just as important. Not every game is a 100+ hour JRPG, but every game has the opportunity to create a meaningful final boss that perfectly fits that respective game. I hope I was able to show you just how Persona 5 Royal made its final boss so meaningful. thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Hey guys, just leaving a personal message here at the end. This was my first attempt at a video essay, which is something I've wanted to do for a long while. Let me know how I did in the comments below. This was really fun, so I'd like to do more video essays on different games, and I want to keep improving as well. Also, remember to let me know what final bosses have left a huge impact for you in the past. If you're interested enough and want to keep up to date with me, then please check out my social media. Links are going to be down in the description below. Special thanks as well to Dizamarcus and Faz for letting me use the Persona 5 footage. And thank you as well to Cranky Templar and Kiet for the Hollow Knight and Octopath Traveler gameplay. All their links will be in the description as well. And that's it for the message. Thank you guys so much for watching my first video, and I'll see y'all later. Take care.